Welcome to Anderson Penn's Sunday Brunch, menu 13 for Sunday, July 17th, 2022. I'm Eric, and here's Brian. Brian, how are you?
Hello, fantastic. How are you?
Great. It's been a while.
Yes.
It's been, I think we skipped a couple of Sunday brunches.
A couple of them, yeah.
Though we may have seen each other
It's
on
bound to
those
happen.
Sundays.
Yes.
Yeah. We recently took a bike ride.
We tried to take a bike ride, but
We took a bike ride. We succeeded in taking a bike ride.
It wasn't very long.
That ended at Copper Rock with coffee and scones and perhaps an egg sandwich.
Those are good.
Those are good.
Those are really good.
Yeah.
New local suggestion. Copper Rock.
Copper Rock I think it's a breakfast egg sandwich. And the first time we had it, we thought it was really good, but I thought it might be a fluke. And no, it's not a fluke. It's really good. Copper Rock for breakfast. I have some news regarding today. Today, Sunday, July 17th, is Lake Superior Day. Lake Superior Day is celebrated annually on the third Sunday in July. Communities around Lake Superior get together and hold events in appreciation of the largest of the Great Lakes, Lake Superior. 32,000 square miles. That's a big lake.
It's a big lake.
It's a big lake.
Yeah.
Today, this month, July, as you know, I'm sure, is National Ice Cream Month, and today, July 17th, is National Ice Cream Day.
Oh my goodness.
National Ice Cream Day.
So we leave right from here.
Right from here.
We go straight to the DQ and
DQ and then Frio, and then, maybe the grocery store.
Yeah.
Wednesday, this is a good one. I like this one. Wednesday, July 20th, this coming Wednesday, is World Jump Day. Now, you'd think that's just a day where you jump, right? But no,
Jump rope?
There's a method to this. World Jump Day is celebrated at exactly 11:39 and 13 seconds GMT, which will be 6:39 and 13 seconds AM Central Standard.
Okay.
And at that time, millions of people from the Western Hemisphere, like 600 million, have signed up for this. Millions of people from the Western Hemisphere jump simultaneously. It is hoped that coordinated jumping will force the planet to move out of its original orbit into a new one to help combat global warming. I couldn't even read it. Obviously, it's not going to work. And this is not the first year they're doing it. It's more of an art thing to do.
Well, you lost me at 6:39 a.m. or something.
a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably be on a bike because that's Wednesday.
That's a Wednesday. Okay.
I can join them.
We're all gonna jump up
And
in
if
the air.
I join them, it's like Horton Hears a Who, where the last Who has to say hello, and then he hears them all. Never mind. Do you have a watch?
I do have a watch.
Tell us all about your watch.
I just got back from service, and so I had been gone for a couple of months. It's the Grand Seiko SBGA 373 Spring Drive.
Does SBGA stand for something?
Yes, it stands for this watch.
That watch.
That's the reference number, but it's the Spring Drive, and it's just smooth, sweeping, secondhand.
Oh, so it doesn't tick, tick, tick.
It doesn't tick. It's a continuous motion, and if you actually watch this under slow motion, it doesn't. It's a very smooth, smooth sweeping second hand. But
if you film it at a high rate of speed, film-wise, and then play it back in slow motion, you can't see any movement. It's just even in slow motion, it sweeps.
Yes, yeah. Because this is actually this is kind of like a hybrid. It's an automatic. But it also has a quartz oscillator in there, which
wasn't that in Back to the Future?
There's something else, but it has a quartz component that regulates the second hand, and then there's a brake that is applied to the second hand so that it's properly timed, and it's accurate down to 0.2 of a second a day.
0.2 of a second a day.
And they confirmed accuracy when they
second?
so like 1 second every 5 days.
Yeah.
So
can we take it apart?
we could yeah. So
see the inner working?
There's the back.
Is this clear on the back?
It is.
Am I looking into the back of
Yes.
that? Yes. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's my Spring Drive for today.
Very nice. Very nice. I expect that eventually you'll run out of new watches to bring.
Probably. Yeah.
Unless we buy more.
Well, that's always a possibility.
I do want to take one little opportunity to say, please like this video. and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. And then I'm going to ask Brian if he has a joke. I'll bet he does.
Do you know what sound a cow makes when he runs out of milk?
What?
None. It's utter silence.
Utter silence. Utter silence.
Which brings me to my follow-up question.
We got a
There's
follow-up
question here. If a cow can't make milk, is it an utter failure or a milk dud?
The world may never know. Even Justin liked that. What is the difference, Mr. Anderson? No, not what is the difference. How do you turn a regular sofa into a sofa bed?
Sleep on it.
Forget your wife's birthday. And this is appropriate because
I got 12 days. I got 12 days.
Okay.
I got 12
Don't
days.
forget.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do not forget because it's coming up. It's coming up. Show and tell. I'll go first.
Okay.
What kind of nib do you think wrote that Anderson pen Sunday brunch?
It looks like a ballpoint.
It is a ballpoint. It is my Jotter.
I saw that in your pocket. I'm like, what is going on
That is
today?
a Jotter XL, which is, as I 7% larger than the regular
7%.
Jotter. 7%. It's slightly girthier. Mm-hmm. And the regular Jotters, while I like them, if I write with them too long, I realize they're too thin for me, thinner than I prefer. But these are very nice. And this one, what's the color called? Monochrome pink gold. And when this came out, I had to have it, and there it is, and I own it, and that one's mine.
I recognized there's a ballpoint just by the A. Right there.
As you should. You're a pen person. Yeah. This, what kind of felt tip pen was that?
Felt tip pen. That is my my TWSBI Draco.
Oh, remember those?
Pink gold trim. Ink window. This has a broad nib. This is a bungalow box. Norwegian wood in here. Still a little bit left in there, but piston filler. Lovely, lovely, lovely pen. Lovely marbling.
I like the logo they put on the top there.
Yeah.
It looks like it was lasered or something.
So just a fun pen. I like to use this every once in a while. But
yeah, 2 fun pens.
I also brought
2 show and tell.
2 vintage pens for show and tell.
3 show and tell.
So
let's have them. That's black hard rubber, chased black hard rubber. Okay, as far as I can go.
BCHR.
Yeah, black chased hard rubber.
Yep. This is actually an unmarked manufacturer. So I don't know who the manufacturer is.
Did you get that from Fred?
No.
Okay.
Fred who?
Crinky.
Fred Crinky? No. I do have a pen that says compliments of Fred Fear.
Fred Fear?
Fred Fear, though. So, this does have writing on it. Compliments of the M.G. Madsen Seed Company in Manitowoc, Wisconsin.
Oh, very nice.
And this is a screw cap eyedropper with 14 karat gold nib.
Now that has ink in it.
I hope not. I guess there's the ink.
There's the ink.
So it's an eyedropper fill with the screw cap, which is kind of unusual. But why am I showing you this? Why do I care? What is so important about this?
I think the squeak.
Well, put a little silicone on there, you'll be. It's in perfect condition. Well, one day, I'm walking around the show at the Ohio Pen Show, and I see this pen.
Which is not chased black hard rubber.
And it's not chased black hard rubber. It's modeled hard rubber.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. And it says the M.G. Madsen Seed Company,
Wow.
Manitowoc, Wisconsin. And this is a friction fit eyedropper. So somehow I managed to come across 2 pens from the same company who gave them away. Can you imagine giving away eyedroppers like this?
So if you get one more of these, you'll have a collection.
I'll have a collection.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure that.
You could
I'm not pretty sure. I mean, both of the imprints are different too. So
we could make one.
we could. These are very, very similar to
We'll get
Waterman, but
another vintage pen and have it engraved.
so I just thought that was kind of fun that I was able to find 2 with pretty much the exact same imprint on them.
That is fun.
And
Accidentally. Well, where did this one come from?
I don't remember
Okay.
where that one came from, and then this one I
But
think
then
is
when
the
you
one.
saw this, you knew you
I
had that.
had to have it, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a
So
lovely
now,
dark.
if anyone wants to sell you pens, they just put this on the pen.
Yeah.
You will have to have it.
Yeah, I have to have it, yeah. But just kind of an interesting pair that has made its way into my collection.
Have you ever inked either?
No.
Because you don't actually. Oh, well, you should ink this one. That looks
I
fine.
think that one. This one is
Oh, look at that.
got some flex to it too.
Yep. Yeah.
That one looks like it's a little bit nicer though.
Does that say karat gold on there?
Yeah, these are 14 karat.
14.
Yeah.
Compliments of. Well, I wonder how many seeds you're buying when you get these. Like, are you buying the seeds for your back 40 acres? Because then you can give a pen away.
Yeah, probably. So, anyway, that's what I brought for today.
Very nice. Very nice. You've done well. We should just end the show right now.
There we go.
I don't think we can top that. But we do have other things. Today we're going to talk about how to swap nibs on Lamy pens. And we're also going to talk about how to prepare for a pen store visit and what to do when you get there. But before we get there, I've got a quiz for Mr. Anderson.
Great. What are we playing for?
Today we are playing for an ink sample of my latest ink of the week. This is Sailor Mano Ayame, and we're playing for Steph because she loves this ink.
Okay.
So 3 questions.
Okay.
You're not going to get this. On YouTube, we recently published Steph's top 5 orange inks. In 3 guesses, can you name 2 of her choices?
Was this in the last week?
It was since our last brunch.
Okay. Because that was mostly comatose last week.
No, that wasn't last week. It was your...
Coeco Sunrise Orange.
That is one of them.
How many do I need to get?
2. But you still have 2 more guesses.
I still have 2 more guesses. I have to look around here. What do I think she would have picked? I know it was not.
Okay. We'll allow it.
It was not Keen Mokase.
It was not.
I remember that one came up as a discussion. It was not.
Many people thought she should have chosen that.
Graf von Faber-Castell Burnt Orange.
That's not one of her. Okay, that was the other one that she didn't choose.
I'm really good at knowing what she didn't choose. What did she choose? I don't. Ooh.
He's about to admit you didn't watch it.
I was sick last week.
Yeah.
I was
Well, you got one.
completely out, yeah.
Give me 2 more guesses. Orange inks. Any orange inks?
Diamine Orange.
No. 1 more guess. You're close with diamine. It was a diamine.
There was a Diamine.
Yeah. A very popular.
Sunrise Orange.
Autumn Oak.
Autumn Oak.
She chose Sailor Ink Studio 173, which is Ink Bottle Dude.
Okay.
Schaefer Retro Sunset, which was a surprise and very popular. Kaweco Sunrise Orange, Diamine Autumn Oak, and Sailor 50 States Arizona.
Okay.
Not this last podcast, but the one before that where I was with Lisa, or Lisa was with me. When you were in Chicago, the location bumper featured the fountain at City Park.
Yes.
Very close here.
Yes. I saw this.
The highlight of the fountain is a sculpture. Can you name the sculpture? It has a name.
It's
I'm thinking it.
kids dancing in water.
Well, it has the word dance in it.
Can you bleep me out on this one?
It's ring dance.
Oh, I never would have got that. Yeah.
As this may come as a surprise to you, but July is National Ice Cream Month.
Well, I think we discussed that.
According to trends, Google Trends, one flavor of ice cream is the worldwide favorite. It's fairly common flavor. So in 1 guess, can you name the flavor?
Vanilla.
I'm sorry.
Vanilla.
No. It's chocolate. Chocolate is more popular, according to Google Trends, and me, than,
Yeah, but vanilla's in everything.
Well, I
Like
suppose
every
you could
ice
say
cream starts
vanilla
with
is the
vanilla.
base, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to give it to Steph?
We're going to give it stuff.
We're going to give it to Steph. I have some comments
Okay.
from our last brunch. Food was terrific. The first comment, I will not say who wrote it, but the comment was, why is the tripod blocking our view? So we've moved it over here this week. I didn't personally think it was blocking a view here because you can still see the both of us, but the reason it didn't stay over here is because when we use this camera, suddenly our hands are backwards from where you see us sitting. And I was thinking that might confuse people. We're going to try it though and see what happens. Basta Dotto says, I see your Glacier has an F nib, fine nib. Did you pick that one over an extra fine, or are extra fine nibs something you don't usually go for? That's for me, apparently, since it's my Glacier. I chose the fine over the extra fine. Generally speaking, I like extra fine nibs, and especially Westerns are usually a little wider than non-Western nibs. But suddenly, I'm at a point in my life where I like a little more ink on the paper, so I chose the fine. I would be just as happy, maybe happier with the extra fine, but I do like a little more ink on the paper. I don't want to go broad all the time, but from extra fine to fine, that's plenty. That's plenty. Brian Marsh says, now show, because we did the resacking. He says, now show doing a sack replacement on a Schaefer snorkel. Quite a bit more complicated.
Yes.
It is quite a bit more complicated.
Yeah, there's a few more steps.
Just a few.
It's doable.
Doable.
It's doable.
Showing it?
Yeah. I would have to prepare it, but yeah, we could do it.
Okay, Brian.
I think.
You heard Brian. He said we could do it. We could do it. He'll have to make some preparations. Susan S. says, a question for next week about the new Sailor Ebonite sculpture fountain pens. I've seen comments on the internet stating that ebonite, which is a hard rubber, can turn brown over time, basically have changes due to oxidation. Would you comment on the information about deterioration, color change if possible? I have seen black hard rubber that has changed color, and I'm told it's because it has been exposed to UV light for X amount of time. No one seems to know how long it takes. And then exposed to water. And apparently the water does it. Yeah. What about these? She mentioned specifically the Sailor Ebonite sculpture pens, which are brand new. They're made of ebonite. Could they suffer that same thing?
Yes.
They could.
Absolutely.
They could.
Yep. No advance in technology short of a Rushi lacquer is going to change that.
Which is what you should do. But if you don't do that, you keep it out of sunlight and you never get it wet.
Yeah, generally speaking, if it's exposed to UV radiation, even the perspiration from your hand on severely degraded examples. I have some vintage pens that I bought at auction a couple of years ago, and then when I received them, I had maybe some perspiration on my hand, and you can leave a fingerprint.
A fingerprint on it?
You can actually see your fingerprint on the
Okay, so you have to be careful. Well, especially with vintage, you don't have no idea if they have been exposed.
And there's no way to tell.
Right.
Yeah.
But a brand new Sailor
should be fine, but you just don't want to. You don't ever want to get it wet as a general rule.
No, and don't leave your pens in the sunlight. I don't think I do that. There's obviously some light coming in through windows.
Sure. Yeah.
But direct, I would never let a pen sit in direct sunlight.
Yeah, and if it's an ebonite pen, I would say if it stays on your desk, try to put it in a case or something so it's not just sitting there on your desk, because then it will over time the finish will turn a little bit matte. You'll start to see it go matte first, from shiny to a matte, and then.
And then any
moisture can cause it to start to turn a little brown.
So that is a consideration, even though these are brand new and not. Yeah. Because they will.
And you can polish that off, and it's pretty easy. But on those new sculpture pens, it's patterned and it's engraved, so it's going to be very difficult to get in all the nooks and crannies.
So it is still possible because it is still ebonite.
Yeah. Ebonite is ebonite.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Cat says, Sunday brunch is the highlight of my Sunday morning. I love putting the show up on my Apple TV on the big screen. Look, Brian, we're on the big screen. Hey there, Mr. Cat. The ink sac demonstration was fascinating. Question, can you squirt ink out of a lever filler like a cartoon? I didn't know you could squirt a cartoon out of an ink, out of a pen. But I do have a lever filler that will squirt.
Some will do better than others. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine's a Swan. And if
Yeah.
it's full of water and it go like that, it can really...
Yeah,
What
and-
you really want, though, is a vacuum filler.
A snorkel, actually.
A snorkel.
Snorkel
I don't
will
have a
do it.
snorkel.
In fact, if you watch one of the Indiana Jones movies, one where Sean Connery's in it, and then they're screwing around, they've got a snorkel in there. Actually, I think he has a lever filler, but it was modified so that it could actually shoot that way. But with the well-working snorkel, you can shoot it across the room.
Okay. Something I have to try. So, yes, you can. Depends on the pen, though. Jackie says, I know we need to be careful with alcohol and pens. No drinking and writing, Brian.
Yeah, or bidding. Don't bid.
Yeah, don't bid on... I think she means the other kind of alcohol, but shellac, at least as I know it from woodworking, is dissolved and denatured alcohol. So we're getting back to shellac and resacking.
Okay.
Could the nipple be cleaned with denatured alcohol? I imagine we're talking about feed nipple here, where you put the sack.
Section.
You take the
section
nipple. You take the old sack off. Can it be cleaned with denatured alcohol, or is that really risky? I think we used your pocket knife.
Yeah. I use my pocket knife.
Would you ever use? Well, first of all, would alcohol dissolve this shellac?
Yeah, I probably would. The catch is shellac, especially in those kind of minute quantities that's left lingering around the end of a section. It's fairly brittle. It pops off fairly easily.
It did kind of.
And
it didn't fight it at all.
And I'm still going to want to go over it with my knife and my usually I have an emery board or something to rough it up.
Right.
So I usually just get it off with a knife, and that works just fine.
These section nipples, are they always ebonite? Usually ebonite? Sometimes they're plastic, though.
Sometimes they're plastic.
So plastic and alcohol.
Most pens, obviously 1920s, 30s, and 40s, most of those are going to have hard rubber sections. They'd probably be fine. But if you've already got a knife there to clean things up, you might as well just continue using that.
So you would not use alcohol?
I would never use it. No.
Never. Okay.
No. In fact, I don't even think I have alcohol in my shop at all. I have it for one particular purpose, and that's for ballpoint refills.
Ballpoint?
Because it'll if you have a ballpoint refill that leaks, you can use alcohol to remove the remnants of the old ink. That's the only thing I use alcohol for.
That's another Sunday brunch subject. So. Jackie continues, I would love to see Brian walk us through a vacuumatic repair.
Okay.
Vacuumatic we can do too. So not right away, but when you're ready, a snorkel and a vacuumatic. Okay. First you got to find a vacuumatic, or 2 or 3.
Yeah, I don't have as many of those. Usually,
I don't personally have one right now.
We can make something up. I've got barrels. I've got parts. We can Frankenstein something.
Make something up. Swapping Lamy nibs.
Okay.
I usually do it when they're inked.
Well, that's the most.
I don't usually clean them in.
That's the best way to do it because you make a mess, right?
Oh, we have a couple.
I have a couple here.
Are they inked? Is that why we have a towel here?
These are our testers actually.
Oh, okay. In-store testers.
Oh.
And take a piece of tape. I don't usually do it this way, so I don't even know if I can. Just put it on there and then pull it off. There.
There you go. Yep. Yeah. Sometimes I'll give it. I'll rub on it really.
Because usually I will grab it with my fingers and just pull it off.
Yeah. For me, what I start with, because I don't always have, and maybe the solution is just to put tape over by the Lamy display, but I don't have a piece of tape handy, so I flip it upside down. Oh. And these are the rails that we talk about on the Lamy.
These are the rails.
These here, yeah.
On the Lamy.
Yeah. So what I do is I just kind of go up here and I grab this.
Yeah, that's what I do, but I don't usually turn it upside down. Why are you turning it upside down?
Because then I can see if it's moving.
Oh, okay.
And then I can pull it off. If you get it to move just a little bit, what you can do then is you can grab it by the sides.
By the sides.
And pull it off.
Well, I've never tried by the sides without moving it first. Why would you switch a nib?
Well, that's the beauty of this pen, right? Is you can buy replacement nibs for $14, 15 bucks. And so if you don't want 3 pens, you can get an extra fine nib, a fine nib, a broad nib, what have you.
But who doesn't want 3 pens?
Well, yes, but for the price of one, you can
I
get.
don't use tape. Now I've got the nib stuck in the tape.
Here, try this one. Let me get.
And I think that's why. I think I tried tape the first time, and that was.
And this is what happened. You lost the nib to the tape.
Yep. Yeah, so I have never used tape since, but I know it's very popular, and probably someone who was more careful than I was.
What did you do? Oh my goodness. Okay, so
see,
just throw the whole thing away.
So I don't know what nib we have here.
All right,
but assuming this is a fine,
that's probably a medium. That should be a medium.
And I want a broad for some reason. I can just have all my nibs side by side.
We've got all our nibs in little baggies here.
And this works on Lamy Safari?
Safari, All-Star, the Lux, the LX, Studio. Technically, it's the same procedure on an Ion, but it's a little bit slightly different nib.
Oh, so the Lamy nibs won't go on the Ion or vice versa?
Ion and the Ideos use a slightly different nib.
Okay.
Slightly different nib. Same idea, but
between themselves and each other, they are interchangeable.
Yes. So, but if you can do this here, you can do this on your Studio. You can do it on your Logo.
It's very simple.
Logo uses it. Yeah. Did we get the right nibs on here?
I have no idea.
So yeah, but yeah, I usually grab here, and then usually what ends up happening is I usually end up sticking it in my skin, and it just stays in my.
Oh well, don't do that, because then you'll hurt yourself and get ink in your system.
But you don't want to do it too hard where you you bend it, and that's why a lot of people like to use the tape method, and then you can use the tape for further. And if it's inked, sometimes it makes it a little bit. I'll just do this and I'll.
Yeah, see, I'm just not a fan of the tape method.
The tape method is not working on this one here, so.
Well, I think
but it works. It works
if
it's not inky.
So it didn't have anything to stick on.
So, this is nice. That's lovely. Very nice. So really, that's all there is to it. There's not much. And the catch is what you wanna be careful of here. Like almost nothing can go wrong, except
almost nothing.
Almost. Once in a while, you get a pen where the feed is actually super loose.
The feed itself.
The feed itself is
can
loose.
Come out.
And you pull the feed out, and then the first gut reaction of anybody when that happens
is to push it back in.
And you shouldn't.
Don't do that.
You should stop. You should stop what you're doing because the feed only goes in correctly one way. And if you're pulling it and then all of a sudden you just jam it back in and it's not the right way, it gets harder and harder to get it out the more you push it in incorrectly. So I always say if it comes out, just stop, recenter, focus on where the parts of the triangulated grip are here, and try to line it up because there's a little groove on the bottom here.
On the bottom of the triangle.
Yep. And like right where this piece here is. And you want to line that up first. And when you slide that in, then you can make sure that it's going in the right way, because you can get it in incorrectly about halfway, and then you probably never get it out again, or you'll break it. So, just one thing to on rare occasions, if that feed does come out, just stop, look at it. Either push it back in or take your nib off if that's what you're doing. Get that situated, but resist the urge to just throw it back in without looking at it.
I've never had that happen, but
once
you
in
have
a great
the nib
while.
off there.
Once in a great while.
That is how you would actually pull the feed from the front like that?
No, you really shouldn't even pull these feeds at all, because they just, like I say, they're difficult to get out. They're difficult to get back in correctly.
Right, so it's not meant to come out.
No, it's not meant to come out. Yeah.
And they're large feeds.
Yeah, they're that long, and they're only about a couple of millimeters thin. So if you force it too much, they will break.
Interesting.
And then if you break it inside, then you're.
Or you just buy a different pen for every nib you want.
And then you don't have to worry about
You don't have
swapping
to worry
nibs,
about that.
Yeah.
But some people think that's fun.
But that's really how you do it. That's a great
like
combination.
I like that a
Yeah.
lot.
Kind of a Ukrainian thing almost, if it were yellow. Almost.
Probably find a yellow one.
Probably.
All right. Thank you for your expertise on that very important subject. The other thing was how to prepare for a pen store visit and what to do when you're there. I prepare by making sure I have all my credit cards. And
You called in advance,
knowing where,
and told them you're out of town.
knowing where the nearest ATMs are. And if I'm going to a city, a new city, if I'm visiting a city, I will search for all the pen shops so I know where they are.
There's not a lot. There's not usually more than one per city. But
Depends on the city, but for instance, in Toronto, I will always go to Leywine's, and I will always go there every day I'm in Toronto.
Yeah.
Even though I see the whole thing the first day I'm there. But
well, you never know.
You gotta go
Stuff
back.
comes in.
Yeah.
Stuff comes in every day.
So that's how I prepare. I make sure I have the means to purchase and know where the pen store is.
You know where your credit card is and how to use it.
Yeah.
Um,
But I'm the consumer. You're the pen store owner.
So I see a lot of things. One of the most common things is people will come in and they're just so excited to be here, but they haven't really put a lot of thought into what to do when they get here. And so then they start talking, and then, oh, well, I've got some vintage pens at home. Bring the vintage pens.
Bring them, yes.
Bring them. If you have something, I need something that needs a part. Bring it.
Bring it.
I've got a ballpoint I need a refill for.
Ooh.
Always bring
The pen
pens.
itself, yeah.
Yeah. Especially if it's a ballpoint or rollerball. If you have the old refill in it, because sometimes if we can't tell what it is, we need the old refill to match
Unless
it up.
I tell you I have a Caran d'Ache 888.
Yes.
Then you'll
yes. Yeah. But we get a lot of people who say, well, I've got this old.
Right.
And sometimes with some manufacturers, there were different refills based on what year it was made, what size it, different, all sorts of different things. So always better to have the pen, especially if it's a vintage pen or something, and you want, can this be fixed? Well, bring the pen and we can take a look at it. It's impossible to talk about things if they're not in front of us. It makes it very difficult. So try to remember those things. People forget those probably most often. The other thing that a lot of people don't think about is to get a lot of people who say, okay, well, I'm interested in looking at pens X, Y, and Z, and how do they perform on ABC paper?
Oh. So if you have a specific
paper,
yeah.
Bring the notebook. While we do carry a lot of paper, we don't carry everything.
Right.
And some people use very specific things. There's people who will just use. There's some good non-feathering office quality type paper out there that you can get at your Office Depot. If that's what you use and you're using that to bind books or something, bring it in so we can test on that paper. Then you'll know exactly how it responds. So those things. Bring your stuff, essentially. Bring
your stuff.
As far as I wouldn't necessarily bring any inks. That's a little bit different, I guess. But once you've got that, if you have a list, it is helpful, especially for ink, to bring a list of things that you're interested in.
We're sounding like going to a pen show now.
Yes. Yes.
They do take preparation.
What happens is people will come in and they're excited to be here, and then they see 1,000 different colors of ink on the wall, and they panic.
It can be overwhelming.
And they lock up.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon for people to be here for 15 minutes and then decide, we're going to go get some coffee and we're going to regroup on this and then come back. So any prep you can have, we're welcome to have you here all day, but any prep you can have makes it easier for you to get to what you want to see faster. The other thing is when you get around to trying pens, we got a piece of paper here.
We have some pens too.
We have some pens.
Oh, yeah. Susan Worth used to say this all the time.
What's that?
Write what you usually write.
Write what you usually write. So this is what happens. This happens a lot when I get people, and this probably happens 75% of the time. You put a pen in somebody's hand and say, well, I want to see how the vanishing point writes, or the metal falcon, or what have you. And they start writing and they do this. And they write loop-de-loops and do this. And I look at them and I say, okay, that's great. Is that what you normally do all day?
Right.
Because when you get home and all of a sudden you start doing this, and you're writing, and you're doing different things, and you're pausing in between, the pen may perform differently. And sometimes people, I think they get a little stage fright. All of a sudden you hand them a pen and say, here, write.
True.
They don't know what to write.
True, they don't know what to write.
But you should write. Now, I have some people who have come in and they're clearly mathematicians or they're artists, and the mathematicians will start writing formulas. Perfect. If that's what you use your pens for, that's what you should write.
Test for, yeah.
If you're an artist, you absolutely should be drawing something to see how the different strokes. Especially if it's a soft nib and you want to see a lot of the metal falcons and falcons, a lot of artists like them because they have different line widths in one pen, so that they start drawing with it. But alphabets are great. Everybody likes the quick brown fox. Give you an idea how the letters form. My E there. I always look at my E's, my A's, and my O's.
Anything that will close in on itself.
Anything that's going to close in on itself, and that's going to help determine for me whether or not that nib size is too small or too broad. The other thing here that's interesting is you'll see a lot of people will come, and if they don't bring their own paper, and we have various tester pads here.
Well, this table we're sitting at generally has nothing but testing paper. Yep. And we have to clear it off before every Sunday brunch.
Sometimes the line width is bigger, sometimes it's smaller. So what ends up happening is people will change their writing based on the paper that is in front of them.
Based on the ruling?
Based on the ruling. So if this ruling is thinner than I normally write, I may accidentally write smaller so I can fit on the ruling, which maybe is not how I'm actually going to write later on.
Yeah, no, I like this ruling. This is about how I am comfortable writing. Mm-hmm. But you're right, some is much, much taller. And I have to use 2 lines on each line because it's just too big.
Yeah, so I like to make sure we try to normalize as much as we can in a real world scenario. How are you going to use it? Because if you hand somebody a broad nib, inevitably they write bigger.
I do, yeah, because otherwise all my letters close.
But the problem is that's not always the case. You go home at the end of the day, your broad nib, I still might write the same size. It's just that now my A closes here.
That's what happens, yeah. If I'm using a broad nib and I want someone else to be able to read my writing, I will write larger.
You have to write larger, yeah.
If it's just for me, I can read my own writing.
Mm-hmm. But you might not change your size. But when you're in a store, sometimes you do. You'd be like, oh, well, that's a broad nib. And if you have paper that doesn't have ruling, then
that throws me. Yes.
Then it throws you off too. So, your own paper, if you're very particular about what you like to use, is very important to have. Otherwise, we certainly have lots of different kinds of paper. Our tester paper is very good, but you just do with the pen what you're going to do with it, and in real life,
right.
And that's the only way to really tell how it works. Because if all this, because we get this a lot, we'll get somebody who buy the pen and they'll do this kind of thing. Oh, I love this. This is great. And they get home,
so you can see if there's any line variation. But it doesn't help you with your writing.
It doesn't help you with your writing. It helps you, I guess, if you want to see if it's smooth in all directions. But and then I might get an email the next week saying, well, when I was using it and I was writing, and if I waited a little bit, well, if we would have been here from the beginning and tried to write like we normally would use it, then maybe we would have found some of these issues in advance. So it's just a
That's a very nice pen.
nice. I like it. But yeah, and I get a lot of this. And the other thing I should mention is and this is going to blow people's minds, very few pens are actually flexible.
Most modern pens are not flexible.
Most pens are not flexible. Yeah. One of the first things most people do is they try to see
if it's got any spring.
If it has any spring to it, and they just keep reefing on it and reefing on it.
Yeah, no.
And
I just assume it has no flex whatsoever.
And really not something you should do.
They're not made for it.
A number of reasons. They're not made for it. And the ones that do have any softness to them, you're going to know which ones those are right away. Your Falcon, your Metal Falcon, your 912 FA.
Right, but they were designed for that.
They were designed for that, yeah. So don't assume that the pen's going to be flexible.
If you want to flex it, buy it first.
Yes.
Because every pen will flex at least once.
I will take it out of your hands if you're flexing it, and it should not be flexed. But it will also cause the nib to separate from the feed.
Right, it causes all kinds of problems.
All sorts of problems.
Yeah. I like it when my pen's right.
Yes.
If I want to flex, I have those. I have those pens.
Or just ask. Is this one going to have any flex to it, any softness? But don't. Is a general rule, and that applies if you're hanging out at a bar at a pen show, and someone hands you a pen.
Did you see me there?
Don't automatically assume it flexed because
No, I ask a lot of questions.
Ruin somebody else's pen, and it's not a happy occasion for anybody.
Never.
That's
okay, we're all set then. So I'm going to bring all my means of payment, and I'm going to be here when you open.
We do take Apple Pay, so
I can pay with my watch.
Watch, yeah.
And I'm going to test every pen that you allow me to test, and I won't flex any of them unless they are meant to be flexed. And I don't have to bring my own paper because you have my favorite paper, one of my favorite papers right there.
And for most people, what we have is fine. It's not like we don't have paper.
No, you're saying it's just very specific. If you use, you mentioned some people do use some sort of copy paper that we don't sell.
Right.
So if that's what you use and you want to see how the pen...
Or I may not have something opened up, like we got a couple of Rhodia, we've got a couple of Clairefontaine, but then there's a couple of weird Clairefontaine and Rhodia papers that maybe I don't have a sample of, or you've got a journal, you don't know what the paper is, but you've had it for X number of years, and
it's a nice pen. It's a very nice pen.
I'm going to put that in my pocket here. But so anyway, there's not a lot of people that bring their own paper, but some people do. One last thing I was thinking of, oftentimes you're in a situation where you want to try a couple of different pens. My suggestion is very simple, and a lot of people don't necessarily think about it, is so if you want to say you want to try this pen, we're going to try it in 3 different nib sizes. Here's what I'm going to write. This is a TWSBI Draco. I'm going to write the name of the pen, the model of the pen, and the actual nib size that I'm writing with.
Right.
And then I'm going to do whatever, ABC. Sometimes I write the ABCs. Do whatever I'm going to do here. And so when I get to the next pen,
so this becomes a reference.
This becomes a reference because this is what happens a lot. You end up writing a whole bunch of stuff. Actually, this is an all-star. And this is a fine note. You don't remember if you do just the Quick Brown Fox.
Right, you don't know what pen that is.
What pen was that?
5, yeah.
And if we've done 3, 4, 5 different pens, we just don't remember, and we're constantly having to reference back. But if we go up here and we remind ourselves, this is what it is, and then we do our, whatever here, then we remember, and we've got a whole running sheet of reference. So when I come down here and say, well, this one was pretty close.
And this is a week's cover only, correct?
Well, that looks pretty close to the medium.
Keep an eye on the site because in August.
But if we didn't put this, we wouldn't know. I could barely tell which one of these is fine and which one's a medium.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to know with that.
So that's very helpful because that happens a lot. People would just ask, okay, what was? Because sometimes we're looking at Sailor and there's 7 different nibs, and outside of like Zoom and music, they're pretty closely slotted, and hard to see. So I like to do that. I like to write down the name, the model, maybe even the color if we're talking about maybe that we're looking at 2 or 3 particular pens that are very similar. I wanted to get this blue one or this red one, and then that helps people decide. Okay, well, I liked the red one. I like that color, and I like how the fine nib was on that. But I like the medium nib on the blue, whatever, better. And so then that gets us to a point where we know we have a better understanding of what we do like, what we don't like, and how they all fit together.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then once you have all the nibs there, you can just look at it and say, which one do I like? Which one makes my eyes happiest?
And don't be afraid to.
I'm going to take this pen.
Yeah, and don't be afraid that if it's not a decision you're going to make today, or you're coming in and you're saying, listen, I want to try out a 912 FA, and I want to try this, that, and the other thing, and I'm not ready to buy them today, but I would like to see how they write. Write them down. Write it like this,
And take it home.
and then take the piece of paper home. Absolutely.
Put it on your wall.
Or put it in your notebook that you brought,
Yeah. Somewhere where you can refer to it.
where you can refer back to it, so that when you know the next time you come in, okay, well, I like that 823. I like the medium nib best, and then you could go and
Yeah, this could be a reference for a long time.
yes,
Until
absolutely.
you buy all 5 of those.
Yes, until you buy, and then you trade in the piece of paper, and then we'll give you a free ink sample. Yeah, so
And you start all over again.
start all
But
over.
at least if you're me.
So those are just some helpful things. I think people are just excited to go to, since there are so few pen stores. We're the only one in Wisconsin. They get to the store, they just don't know what to do. They're beyond themselves. They've got paper,
Yeah, well, that's
they've
why I
got-
go back every day.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
time in the city, because it's always something I think of that night. Oh, I should have taken a second look at. I just
Yeah, when we were in New Orleans, was it last summer? Lisa and I, and we went to Papier Plume, and we went there for 2 or 3 days.
yeah.
We just kept going back, and every time I bought more notebooks. I carry notebooks. I bought
helps too.
notebooks.
That
I have a
helps.
stack.
I usually do buy something every time I go back.
Yes. So I was guilty of it too.
Because pen stores are fun. Pen stores are
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
But yes, at one point it did sound like you were talking about visiting a pen show, because you have to plan for those too.
Yes, yes. But I hate to see when people come in, they've driven 2, 3, 4, 5 hours or more to get here, and then they realize they forgot. They should have brought. They've got a vintage pen. They want to know what sack fits in it.
Yeah.
You
I have no
bring
idea.
it. Bring it.
No
yeah.
idea.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
But why don't you take one of each?
Yes. Yeah. That's
That's the best solution at this point.
So.
Good. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything else for this week?
I
You should have one more joke.
have one more joke.
You should have one
Let me
more
check.
joke.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Hit me.
The other day, I bought a dozen bees.
A dozen bees.
A dozen bees. I've got a little. I've got a little thing in my backyard. I've got a.
But you just bought a dozen.
But it's about a dozen. I've got a little kind of a nature area I've decided to do this year.
Ah, yes, I saw this.
Where
the rectangle.
It's
The
a
nature
little rectangle in my backyard where I decided not to mow.
Yeah.
So it's technically I can get away with not mowing it.
No mow space.
The no mow space, so that the butterflies and the bees and whatever can do it. So I bought a dozen bees the other day, and they gave me 13.
A baker's dozen.
The last one was a freebie.
That was so good. I don't think I can do my next one. The last one was a freebie. I like that. That was good. I'm gonna swing back to soccer. World Cup soccer.
Oh, sure. Is that coming up?
That
Are we watching that again this time?
November, December, I think. Why is soccer? I may have done this before. Why is soccer so popular worldwide? Because people get a kick out of it.
Oh. No, you haven't done that.
Okay, good. Thanks for joining us this Sunday. We will be back next Sunday with menu 14, but we don't know yet what we'll be talking about. Do we?
We'll make it up.
We'll make it.
Make it up as we go
Might be
along.
bicycles. You never know.
You know,
You
it
never
could
know.
always be bicycles.
See you next time. Bye.